The theme is going to be finishing touches. So yesterday, we went over how you can add an orange paint layer there. I showed you how to remove the crush label with all those steps. I warped the label. Remember where the warp is, edit, transform. You see super powerful things in here, and I warped that into place. Now I have two blank layers here, shading white and shading black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some finishing touches to this image. I'm going to throw white on here. Change my foreground to white. I'm going to go to my brush tool, and I'm going to do a white streak. So let's say there's a highlight coming on that. Throw that in. And yesterday you saw that what overlay did in soft light. So I find the overlay, it actually brightens it a bit more. And then you could lower that opacity down. So just by painting in some white, you can kind of shade it. So this is what I would call shading. Just doing some last tweaks, shading it. Likewise, I could go to my black layer, change my foreground from white to black. Go to my brush tool, and maybe add some shading along the side here. It could be quick like that. And then try multiply. Usually looks good. So I would go with multiply. I'd lower that opacity a little bit. And there's your shading along the edge. Now, whatever you don't want, the easiest way to do it is to erase that. So use your eraser and erase the shading. And that makes things look a little bit more realistic. What I'm going to do now, my last finishing touch, so you can actually merge layers together. So in this program, I'm going to I shift selected all these layers. I'm going to right click, and you can merge layers together. Now that's all there together. If I want to get rid of this shading rather than erasing, I'm going to go down, hover over this original image here, hold the control key down or the command key on the Mac, control or command, click, and then I have that as a selection. I can inverse that selection, go back up to the shaded area, and then go edit and then cut. And it cuts that extra away from the edge. Somebody was asking now, your finishing touch maybe to throw in a background. So I went and found these royalty-free images that I could use off of Google, and I'm going to drag those over, drag that image into here, image into here. Move that layer behind. Now if I hit Command or Control T or go up to Edit, Transform, Free Transform, I can scale that up if I need to and hit Enter. And I can move my can wherever I want, wherever I think is appropriate. I'm going to make a copy of this here, and I might want to blur this background out a little bit as a finishing touch because like this photo looks great and everything, but it's competing with the can. So I may want to throw a blur on there. Blurs are located in Photoshop under Filters. So you go Filter and Blur, and there's a ton of blurs. The two main blurs I use that I would tell you to use, Gaussian and Motion Blur, but you can play around with tons. But these are the fastest ones to get your head using blurs. And you can see that you can blur that background out a little bit. Go OK. And I could even darken that image a little bit. Go to Adjustments, Levels, and I could darken or lighten. Actually, lighten looked pretty good. Pop the can forward. So I could just be making these like levels and color adjustments to things. I could even desaturate the background a little bit. Adjustments, hue saturation. You're going to see me go to levels and hue saturation a lot. And I could lower the saturations, lower the color if I need to. You could even make a blank layer here if you wanted to add shapes or whatnot. Simple ways to do that. There's shapes down here. You can go into the rectangle shape. You could fill that in. I'd fill it in with a kind of a color that's similar to the background. And then you can move that shape around if you needed to. Command T, and I could stretch that over. Hit Enter. You could lower the opacity. You could do things like this. So you could put stripes in. You could put shapes in. You could lower the opacity. You could even blur shapes that you throw in the background. So I'm going to go Filter. My other favorite blur that I use for quick things is Motion Blur. It says raster. You just hit Rasterize or Convert to Smart Object and Rasterize. Let's blur it this way. And then you can almost create different kind of like blur looks to things. I'm going to go Command T, and I'm going to stretch this This way, if it's doing this, hold the shift key down. Then you can change it along the vertical axis. And then I could actually throw in another shape here. So go back to my shape tool. Let's go, I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna add an orange color, click there. Hit enter. Could either lower the opacity here, try a different blending mode, and then I could throw a blur on this if I wanted to. I'll try Gaussian blur this time. Rasterize that, throw the blur on. A couple finishing touches if you want to. Now you know how to do all of that.